All right, this video is called Evidence, the Backbone of Your Argumentative Paragraphs. Let's recall first the goals of an argumentative paragraph. Make a claim that clearly, adequately, and concisely answers the whole prompt and show that that claim is true. Those are the two goals. Every argumentative paragraph you'll write this year and probably forever. Those are the two goals. So what is the function of evidence? Evidence provides the facts that act as the spine of your arguments. So evidence are the backbones of reality that you are using to show that your claim about reality is true. So your claim says reality is this way. And your evidence is like, and here's the reality that leads me to say that reality is this way. And here's another piece of reality. And here's another piece of reality. So there's a bunch of different kinds of evidence. The one you're most familiar with are quotations. I won't give examples. You know what those are. That's going to be a big chunk of the kinds of evidence that you give this year. But there are more kinds, right? There are just facts. The sun is roughly 93 million miles from the Earth. That's a fact, an example. For example, the Federal Reserve injected trillions of dollars of liquidity into the economy. That's an example. For example, statistics. You know, his batting average has declined from this to this to this over these years. That's a statistic. Expert testimony. The chief of cardiology at Presbyterian Hospital blames poor diets for the spike in heart disease. That's like, oh, he's an expert or she's an expert in the field, and thus, what they say carries some weight. Personal anecdote. When I was a boy, visiting national parks was a highlight each summer. That's like a personal anecdote. So those are all quotations, facts, examples, statistics, expert testimony, personal anecdote. Those are all fair game kinds of evidence that you can use in your argumentative paragraphs to help show that your topic sentence claim is true. So some advice, often kids are like, how many quotations do I need? Or how many pieces of evidence do I need? And that becomes, that minimum figure that they're given, like 2, becomes what they're going to do. And so there are kids who, through the years, it's clear there's so many kids who shoot for the minimum. They're only going to put in whatever that minimum number is. So we're going to ask you to try to take a more adult approach to your writing, and you're going to give the kind of evidence needed to really show that your topic sentence is true. That might be 3 pieces of evidence. That might be 4. Maybe 2 quotations and a fact. Maybe 2 quotations and an anecdote. Maybe 2 quotations and 2 anecdotes. Who knows? But try not to just shoot for the minimum. Otherwise, you're not really arguing to show something's true. You're just doing this paper to get it done and get a grade on it. And that's not going to help you really learn as much as you could. So citing your evidence. There's different ways to cite different kinds of evidence. Most of the evidence you're going to be giving this year in your argumentative paragraphs is going to be quotations, and most of the quotations you're going to be using are going to be from the texts that we're using in class. And so there's a basic way to do that, and here's how it goes, right? So you've got your signal phrase in white, then you've got your quotation in blue, and then here's how it goes at the end. You close the quotation marks, that's in the green, and then you have a space, left parenthesis, page number, right parenthesis, period, and that's how you do it. The period goes at the end. And so many boys put a comma before that quotation mark. No, that's not MLA format. If you're using a text that's not a common text for the class, then you actually just put the author's name and a comma and the page number. Here, we'll get to that. For other kinds of evidence, you look at the Bedford Handbook, and we'll talk about different ways of citing different kinds of evidence. But for a quotation, like 90% of the evidence that you cite this year at least is going to be this format right here within the green. And that's all you have to do. So the keys are, don't put a comma before the quotation mark, put the quotation mark first, put the period at the end. There's other rules about if there's a question mark or an exclamation point. We'll cover those as we get to them. And there needs to be a space between the the quotation mark and the left parenthesis of the page number. Okay, so takeaways. So you should be able to recall the goals of an argumentative paragraph. There's two. Discuss the function of evidence in an argumentative paragraph. What purpose does it serve? Name and give an example of 6 kinds of evidence. Discuss why giving the minimum amount of evidence isn't always a good strategy, and know how to give a basic citation for a Common Core text.